welcome back to my channel. All right, today's been one of those days where I have this really fancy camera and then I decided that the HDMI port was gonna break, and none of you guys care about that. But we are introducing my camcorder today, which I have now brought to you, and it's great. It's lovely. It's fantastic, right? Okay, so let's talk. There was a story last week we talked about with the Gosselins. Now, Kate Gosselin was on the defensive. She was going after Jon Gosselin through People magazine. And I am solely convinced at this point that these two human beings, Kate and Jon Gosselin, only communicate to each other through the websites that pay them. So Jon loves to use the Daily Mail because they give him exclusives, and then Kate seems to get money from People who give her exclusives. So it's a battle of the exclusives. Now, People magazine spoke to Kate, she told them basically that there was an investigation into Jon, and because of this altercation that had happened between him and Collin. She had claimed that there was an incident that had occurred where something was thrown at a car, there was some denting of a car, and Jon resulted in getting physical with his son. Now, he initially did not say anything, and there was a lot of people speculating that the reason why he wasn't saying anything was because there was an investigation going on. Kate then runs to People magazine and basically is like, "You're a horrible father. I can't believe what you would do to our kids. This is enough," okay? And she's going on and on about how she doesn't want to have Jon have any part of the kids' lives. And then there was massive confusion by all of us because we were just like, wait, isn't Jon like the sane one of these two? Well, turns out that Jon finally spoke to the Daily Mail, and here's what Jon had to say. So he is really frustrated with Kate at this point in time because he says that she is basically blowing something up out of proportion, and he did not want to talk about this publicly because he wanted to protect his son, obviously. So here is what he says. So he told them, "I really didn't want to have to come out and talk about this for Collin's sake, but when Kate is in the media attacking me and calling me a child, abuser, I have to defend myself. I love my son and I would never hurt him." And then he basically says that he had been driving with the two kids and there had been some bickering between Hannah and Collin in the car on the way home, and it escalated into something different. So he said it was just like typical sibling rivalry, and when we got home, things escalated into something different. He said Collin got very upset and started acting out, so I intervened. He started throwing stuff at my car, denting and shouting, "F you." I was angry and I confronted him, and then he threatened to run away. We've had problems with Collin in the past, running away, and I was so worried. He was upset, so I restrained him. He said, "I did not punch him or kick him. I restrained him," which he obviously wasn't happy about. Kids don't like it when you restrain them. He's 16. He's a 16-year-old boy. And he said, "I restrained him and then I backed away. And because I never want to have to restrain your children, it's the most heart-wrenching thing you ever have to do." So it sounds like, according to Jon, Collin was becoming maybe a danger not only to himself but to other people. And so as a last resort, he opted to restrain him. Now, this is a controversial choice because it's not something that every person does, and it depends on, I guess, what restraint he had to put on him. I'm guessing he had to place him onto the floor. I have no idea. But he says Hannah calls, so he says he leaves the house, and then Hannah calls him and says Collin's going to call the police. And so he said he turned around and he went back home, and he said that he called the police. And so he says that Collin told the police that he had punched him in the face and kicked him in the ribs, and I was like, I didn't do any of that stuff. And then he was just mad, is what not the words he used, that he didn't get his way. He was out of line and he just was making stuff up. And he says that as soon as the officer arrived and interviewed him, Collin and also Hannah, who witnessed the incident, so Hannah gives her statement about the whole thing. He gives the statement to the police about the whole thing. And she said Hannah told them I didn't hit Collin, and the police could see that there was absolutely no marks or bruising on him. So they accepted Jon and Hannah's response, and they filed the report, but they had to send the incident over apparently to CYS. And he says, I get it. It's their job to do. It's the police. They have to do their job. And they said CYS came out and they interviewed us. And they also spoke to Collin's mother, Kate, and his other siblings. And they basically, that was it. All the claims were unfounded and it was closed within 24 hours, he said. And then the Berks County District Attorney John Adams confirmed that no charges or citations were issued as a result of this incident. Jon says that Collin was just being really out of control, and he says you can't just go about doing things without consequences. But then he threatened to do an IG post if I didn't give him his stuff back, so now he's using that as leverage. So, oh my goodness. So apparently he's still mad at Dad. Dad will not give him back his stuff. And Dad decides that he is going to go on IG and post about his dad. And he said he told Collin that he did not care, that he was still going to discipline him in any way. That was that. Now, in regards to it getting up online, he said that it was only up for like 3 total minutes because he actually got a call from his sister-in-law and they told him about what it was. He told Collin to take it down. Collin takes it down, but obviously it gets picked up and people are freaking out. Now he says that by the time it all comes to fruition, got multiple outlets reporting it. I was one of them, but there was like Perez Hilton, The Blast, Pop Culture, a lot of different places. Perez was actually one of the first to pick it up when he saw it. And it says the articles were wrong. It said that there was an ongoing investigation, which there isn't, and they only took Collin words from the police report. And Kate is fueling this and sticking the boot in it. Now, he actually slammed her for going to People magazine because he said that Kate has not seen Collin in 5 years. And he said, and now she's going to try some out as the caring mother, when in fact the reason Collin is struggling with mental health is because she ABUSED'd him. He said he has PTSD because of her, so I'm not going to sit back and not defend myself or my family. He said that his troubles have been so hard that it was the first time he had ever had to restrain his son. And he says that really it all stems to the fact that he was placed in this special needs institution when he was 11 and that Kate kind of abandoned him. And then there was all the stuff that happened with Collin before he was placed there. And he says that, Kate basically was the terrible mom that caused all kinds of emotional trauma to his son. So he says, dealing with a child that has mental health issues is taxing. I am taxed, but I love my son. I will not give up. I go to therapy. We go as a family. We go to family therapy to deal with having a son that has been traumatized and ABUSED by his mother. It's been very difficult for me. I'm trying to learn how to handle Collin, have my own demons as well, but I've never punched or kicked him or anything like that. And none of this is Collin's fault. He's 16. He's got a lot of issues to work through, and we're here to help him. All right. So obviously this sort of goes in line with what they've said about Collin having a lot of issues. This is my issue though, is that I don't know what his actual diagnosis is, and I'm sure that Jon is trying to protect him, and I can totally understand that. But I wonder here if you can blame everything on Kate truly, or if it's a combination of things. It's very disconcerting that he would automatically blame Kate for everything. I feel like there would be more going on, because I feel like there's been always a lot dealing with Collin in regards to him. I don't know. Never mind. Now, I'm not super awesome that he's like going after Kate, but I guess, that's what these two do. It's really unfortunate that Collin is struggling right now. It's also unfortunate that he is dealing with the aftermath of being placed in an institution. Interestingly, Paris Hilton just came out with a documentary where she actually talked about her time at a school called Provo Canyon School, and it was pretty emotional. She talked about some very difficult things that she experienced while she was at the school, and I'm wondering if the place that Collin was placed was similar to what where Kate placed him, where basically you just send your kid that you say is troubled, and it's just a place for parents so they don't have to deal with their kids, to help them deal with emotional issues, and they're not really getting any sort of mental health help. I don't know. But having just watched that with Paris Hilton, it makes me wonder if some of that is also from the place that he was put and the 3 years away from his family. I mean, that can't do anything healthy to a child's emotional state. So, as far as this goes, the case is apparently closed. Hannah confirmed that this was not dad doing anything, and Kate Gosselin was puffing out her chest to look like the scorned, angry mother. You guys, I'm tired of these two fighting online. I really am. I wish they would just communicate behind the scenes so they didn't have to constantly go to the media and have these open public arguments. It's just, it doesn't help their children at all. I don't understand why they would even do something like this. If they could just find a way to like speak, this wouldn't have to like get escalated like this. Anyways, we will continue to keep Collin in our thoughts and hope that he's doing well as all of the other kids. And I will be back later with more, but tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye.